Hey, everybody. I just had an epiphany and I want to share it with you. I just brought my son to basketball practice or training, and I can't remember how we got the conversation started, but he asked me, I told him that I used to teach, that my first job teaching was to children. I was a preschool art teacher out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I did this for 3 years. Hi. And loved it. And he said, "Who was your favorite student?" And I said, "Well, I loved all of them. I didn't have a favorite. I loved just being with the kids." And he said, "Who was your naughtiest student? You're the one who really misbehaved." And I said, "Oh, I remember him, and he taught me. He was my first teacher as an instructor, and his name was Kody, and he was really naughty. And the school where I taught, it was a daycare center and a preschool in one, and so I did both, and I taught art to the 3-year-olds up to the kindergartners, and I would create the same lesson plans for every single age and just adapt them according to how much hand-holding they needed." And he said, "Well, what did Kody do?" And I said, "Well, I remember the first time I met him, I chased him around the room, and I felt like I was on a sitcom, and it was crazy." Yeah. He was very naughty. I chased him around the room. I'm like, how am I going to get this kid on my side? And it occurred to me that he didn't, he was in control. I was trying to get him to do something that he didn't want to do. And I'm like, okay, how do I do this? So I can't remember how I came to this conclusion, but I sat him down. I said, "Come here." And he thought, of course, that he was in trouble because he was always in trouble. And I said, "Look, Kody, I need your help." And he's like, "Yeah, am I in trouble?" I said, No, you're not in trouble." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just want to talk to you." He said, "Okay." I said, "I need your help." And he said, "Okay." And I said, "The kids here in this classroom are totally out of control, crazy, and I can't do my job. And I see that you have a lot of power and that you are a leader. And the kids do what you do. They look up to you, and you've got a lot of power behind you, and you have initiative. And so I need for you to show them how to behave. I need for you to be an example." I know. And he's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "I'm totally serious. So if you would just show them how to stand in line and how to follow instructions and how, you know how the room is set up. You've heard me talk about that, but I would really appreciate your help." And he said, "Okay." And that was it. So he had the choice to, I know, isn't this crazy? Some angel was tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Anne, tell him this." He had just as much capacity for compassion and responsibility and creativity and all the things that we're all capable of. He had that capacity in him and was just decided, all I had to do was say, "You have it, would you please give it to me?" And he gave it to me. And this got me thinking that I know that we all have the capacity to do great things. And we just I've heard this before from other teachers, so I'm not spouting anything new, but we have the capacity to do great things, and we just make these choices to do other things instead, probably because it's easier, right? And so in terms of the flourishing classes that I teach and all the other classes that I teach, my big thing is yes, you can, and yes, I can, and we're going to do it together, and creating a safe environment in which to do brave things on the page. The very first book I bought on flourishing had a warning at the beginning, and it said, if you cannot flourish, don't try to prove it. And that was the most negative, hurtful thing I have ever heard anybody try to frame the act of flourishing. Flourishing means to thrive and to flower and to blossom. And to have somebody tell you that you need to practice doing this in the privacy of your own studio alone before you make a fool out of yourself and prove to everybody that you're a novice? Are you fucking kidding me? No, no, no. We are made of flourishes. You are a flourish. That's how we're made. We are there. There's no difference between us and flowers. We're the same thing. Yeah, it's called flourishing for a reason. I mean, we are all of us just magical, powerful creatures. And it is so easy to look at ourselves and say, no, I remember that one time when I wasn't. And that can overshadow and cloud all of your choices. We have one choice, the most important choice, and that's to show up. And if you are in with, if you keep reading materials and keep placing yourselves in situations where it's not safe to show up, then you need to find a different room. And my room, the classroom that I try to create is the one that I wanted to be in, that I wasn't in all my growing up years. When I went to art school, even grad school, they tell you the most, their version of inspiring you was to say, you're not good enough. Come here, student, and let me show you the way. And my first critique in art school, I had somebody look at my work that I put on the wall, and Mr. Juergens was his name. And he passed by my piece and he said, "This is nothing I'm going to remember when I go home tonight." My first year of art school. My very first critique. I was scared out of my mind. He said, "No, I'm not going to remember this." And I had no idea what I was doing. What I needed somebody to say was, "This is what you've done, that is positive, and this is where I would love to see you step into next." So that's why I teach the way I teach. So for all of you listening, everything I'm saying right now is nothing new. There are lots of other people who say the same thing, just in different ways. But you are a flourish. We are all flourishes. There's no difference between you and magnificence. You are magnificent. And, every time I try something new, I sweat bullets. I'm nervous. It takes me a while to figure it out. I'm a slow learner. But that's got to be okay. You have to be able to be okay with being new and nervous. Where do I teach? I teach online classes. I live here in Atlanta, and I also teach classes here locally. I do private lessons. I teach out of my home. I travel and do workshops. I travel abroad. So go to AnneElser.com. I've got a link in my profile. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. You're sweet. So that's it. Oh my God, I'm so hot in this car. I gotta take off this coat. Yeah, so I need your help. I need you to be an example for all the other students in my classroom and everybody I bump into. Behave as if you are a leader, and show everyone else the way by being yourself and being brave and being loving. Yeah, flourish as the flourish that you are. That's it. All right, I'm going to go inside and watch my kid flourish on the court. Yeah, kindness does matter. All right, Thank you, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Where's the end button? There it is.